Welcome to the series where I test out money-making methods from the OSRS Wiki. Feel free to leave suggestions on which moneymaker you'd like to see next. And also, if you didn't already know, I have a nice playlist that I've created that has all of the previous moneymakers that I've already tried, so go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. With that being said, let's get into the video. So for today's moneymaker, I thought we'd go ahead and try our luck out at planting mithril seeds. And the reason I say luck is because RNG is going to be playing a big factor for this moneymaker. Now the good thing about this moneymaker is that you won't be needing any skill requirements or any quest requirements. All you'll be needing is a cash stack to buy the mithril seeds and a little bit of luck. Now before attempting this moneymaker, make sure that it is still profitable. Make sure you do a price check on the mithril seeds and the prices of the flowers, especially the black and the white flowers, since that is where you're going to be getting most of your profit from. Now the wiki states that if you don't get the black or white flowers, the profit per seed is actually negative 53.45 GP. So if you get unlucky and you don't get any of those, this won't actually make you any money, but in the long run, you should be seeing a profit. And if you're extremely lucky, then you could potentially make a lot of money for very little effort. Now, as for where I'm going to do this moneymaker, I'm going to be using the top floor of Lumbridge Castle. This is what the wiki suggests, and the reason that I'm going to be doing that is because there is a really tight space that will essentially help us out with this activity that we're doing. You also want to make sure that the spot that you pick is close to a bank. That way you can of course bank your flowers after you pick them up. And here in Lumbridge Castle at the top floor, you can do it anywhere along the entrance of the bank or even south inside of the bank, which you'll see later on during the video. And I did use both of the spots because if you do happen to mess up and don't pick up the flowers, it'll leave them there and you can't plant on top of them. So you have to find a new spot. Now, as for the gear setup, it honestly does not matter. You don't even need to be wearing anything. But for me, I'm going with my Graceful along with the best helmet in the game, along with my newly acquired Champion's Cape that I got in the latest videos that I've been uploading. If you haven't seen them, go check them out. They are organized in a nice playlist and it's worth a watch. And I just want to say thanks for checking it out. A lot of you really enjoyed it and a lot of you have been asking for content similar to that. So alongside these money-making videos, I will most likely be doing some collection log type videos and just some completionist stuff on this maxed account. But yeah, as for the gear setup, all you need is just the mithril seeds in your inventory and you are good to go. Now I did decide to bring 2,000 seeds instead of the 1,000 that the wiki showed, and I'm glad I did because I did end up using a lot more than 1,000. And as for the bank setup, I did buy the flowers beforehand to get placeholders, and then I filled up the remaining slots with fillers so that when I deposit my inventory, all of the flowers go in there, but my mithril seeds remain in my inventory. And this was just for faster banking. However, I didn't make a placeholder for the black flowers because for some reason I couldn't buy them even for like 15% above market price. So I just waited until I got a pair of black flowers and then I made a space for them. Except for the first one. The first one you can see that I equipped it already, but once I got a second one, then I made a placeholder for it. And ultimately, this was good news because it just meant that the black flowers that I obtained in this 1 hour would sell for more than I expected. But yeah, that is pretty much the entire setup that you will be needing for this moneymaker. The method is very straightforward. As you can see, I'm just left of the bank and I am clicking on the mithril seeds to plant them, and I'm also holding the 1 key to quickly pick up the flowers. So I gotta say, it's very low effort. There's not much work required, but it isn't the most exciting content. So if you're looking to actively play the game, then you're better off doing some PVM. But if you're, I don't know, just wanting to try your luck and see what kind of flowers you can get, then it might be worth a try. And of course, I am by no means efficient. I'm sure someone else could get a lot more seeds planted in 1 hour than I did, especially since I did mess up 1 or 2 times throughout this video. One of them was me making the placeholder for the black flowers. It took me a while to set it up because I accidentally deposited my mithril seeds in the empty slot, and it just wasted a couple of seconds. Nothing too crazy, but again, if you do everything perfectly, you can get a lot more seeds planted than I did. The second part where I messed up was I I believe I planted a mithril seed when I already had a full inventory of flowers, so I couldn't pick up the flowers and it just stayed there on the ground. This is why I had to move to the inside of the bank and use that spot for a little bit until the flowers despawned, and then I went back to the original spot. And as you can see, every single time you plant the flowers on the ground, it shows the mixed flowers. This was changed a couple years ago because people were actually using the seeds to gamble. I believe it was a game of hot and cold. You would place your bet, say either hot or cold, and then if the flower was red, for instance, it was hot, and if you bet on hot, then you'd win some money. But of course, these player-run games of chance are against the rules, so this change pretty much got rid of that. This is similar to the dicing bots that you see at the Grand Exchange nowadays. Again, I highly recommend that you don't participate in that because it's against the rules and most likely they are going to scam you out of your money, so just don't do it. Now, since I had some pretty bad luck with the last 2 scrolls that I was trying to get on the champion grind, I was hoping that I would have some good luck here with the flowers for 1 hour, and surprisingly I actually did. I pulled a nice amount of black flowers, as you've already seen, and I also got some white flowers as well. And here's a look at your chances of getting each flower. As you can see, the white and black flowers are the most rare, therefore making them the most expensive. And really, all these flowers are used for is mainly for Fashionscape, but they could also be used to box certain monsters in the wilderness. So if you want to get away from somebody, you can just get a box on and then put the flower on, and you'll have really low stats. They'll be in the negative. I think they give like -50, -100 stats, so you can pretty much just box a monster and teleport out safely. Now, of course, if that is your reason for buying them, then I highly recommend buying some of the cheap ones. There's really no reason to buy the white or black flowers. But if you are trying to get your Fashionscape on, then I suppose the black and white flowers are your best bet. But I have to say, nothing beats the Trollweiss flowers. Those are actually my favorite. They're not tradable though, so yeah. And as you can see here in the video, I did switch back to the spot that I was using in the beginning. That was just because of the misclick that I did where I had a full inventory and I planted the flowers without picking them up, so I swapped spots. So again, that did eat into the time a little bit, so if you happen to be perfect with your clicks, you can definitely get a lot of seeds planted. That is, if you do decide to do this moneymaker. I mean, there's a bunch of other options that you can do, but I thought this was an interesting one since it did have a touch of luck involved. But there it is. We are done with our 1 hour, and these are all the flowers that we happen to get throughout the 1 hour. As you can see, these flowers aren't really worth much. It is the black and white flowers that add all that value to the final price check, showing around 709,000 GP. That is quite a lot of money for just flowers. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, it is very important that you do a price check on some of these items before you do this moneymaker because they're always changing. As you can see, the market price is vastly different than the actual traded price, so make sure you do your research. Now, for the most part, I sold all of the flowers for a very low price just to get them out of there. Luckily, the black flowers did sell for over their actively traded price. I just threw them in there and they happened to sell for a nice amount, 188,000. But yeah, I wasn't too concerned about the lower tier flowers. I just wanted to make sure that I got a good price for the white flowers and the black flowers, since those are the big money makers. Unfortunately, the white flowers, I did lower them down because they did take quite some time to sell. The actively traded price did say around 249,000, so if you want to be patient, you could potentially make a lot more money, but I didn't want to risk it, so I just lowered down the price and took what I could get. And it's not like it's a bad thing because we did end up making a lot of money still with our good luck. And as you can see here, I had a very hard time selling these flowers. I literally had to put them in there for 2 GP because even at 5 coins, they weren't buying, even though the actively traded price was over 100 coins for each flower. So again, if you want to be patient and try your luck, then go ahead. You could possibly make a lot more money, but we still managed to make 696,000 coins, which is still pretty close to the first price check that we initially did, so I'll take it. Now, as for how much money we made during this 1 hour, we can go ahead and take the cost of supplies, which was the mithril seeds. That was 172,382 GP. Subtract that from the total amount of money that we made, which was 696,172 GP. We get a grand total profit of 523,790 GP from 1 hour of planting mithril seeds. Now, I did go ahead and change the counter on the wiki to the amount of seeds that we planted, and as you can see, we did get pretty lucky. We made a nice amount more than what the profit here shows. I just want to say thanks for checking out the video, and if you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a thumbs up and possibly a subscription. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next episode.